choosing a brokerage isn't all about saving money. And the truth is, some of the transaction brokerage models I've been running lately are absolutely more expensive. You know, they tout 100% brokerage model. The truth is there is no 100% brokerage model, because even if there's a transaction fee, you're paying a little bit. But I left a transaction fee and my dad was my broker, and here we are absolutely crushing it where I'm at. So I'm going to dive into this and see if the decision to stay at a transaction fee based model is best for you, or it's actually costing you thousands. Stay tuned. What's up, guys? Jeremy Kane, Real Estate Agent Playbook, and this one's near and dear to my heart as I help and talk to agents about brokerage models and decisions. So I know a ton of the models, and I'm running numbers right now for brokerages or brokers and brokerages, and it's absolutely insane to me that most brokers have no idea the savings they would get at a cap split model versus a transaction model. So we're going to dive into that. This is a little bit brokerage specific. On this channel, we're talking about, you know, how to grow your business organically and absolutely crush it, because ultimately I don't love paying lead generation systems. I don't love paying the brokerage. I don't love, you know, paying all these overlays and splits that make it so expensive to be a real estate agent. So I have grown my business to be a 3-time icon agent at my current company, but I want to help you win every single day at the game of real estate. So if that sounds good to you, please like the video, throw me a comment, let's have some engagement. But ultimately, if you subscribe and hit that notification bell, you'll be notified when I release 2 videos a week. And if something I've already said interests you and you want to have a conversation and run your numbers, please book a call with me below, and we can absolutely dive in to joining the record-breaking group, the Wolfpack at eXpRealty. But if you need more, let's keep watching. Okay, so first and foremost, I completely understand how expensive it is to be in this business, right? We get in, we're like, yeah, we're gonna go do this. We're gonna, you know, have leads and lead generate, and my brokerage is gonna provide me leads and all the things. And then reality strikes, right? Certainly, if you do join a brokerage where they're providing leads, you're gonna pay usually about 60 to 70% in referral fees of some sort, at least for the good ones. And then you also have your license fee, your E&O insurance, your, you know, contracts software, your brokerage monthly fees. All of these fees start to add up, not to mention the realtor board dues and all of these things that kind of hit you all at once, right? I tell people it's usually about $2,000, $3,000, at least in my state, to get up and running. And so all of these fees start to add up. And then we're in a position where we're like, okay, we thought we were okay, but, you know, we had some things come up in the fees and all the stuff. And now what? Now we're, you know, desperate for the next sale, and we struggle to get our footing. And so, you know, the truth is that regardless, when all this dust settles, right, that all of those fees are included in, you know, almost every brokerage model there is, right? Because that's how, you know, especially the ones that operate on these tight budgets that have, you know, just very small fees, they are just keeping the lights on. So that has a problem, because then all of a sudden we're at this a la carte option. We don't have the tools, we don't have the resources. We're a contractor with a hammer and a screwdriver that doesn't even have a battery attached to it. And what do we do, right? So then we have to go out and kind of build all these a la carte resources to build, you know, what we think will be a lucrative kind of setup. So typically at these transaction fee brokerages, there is, you know, not necessarily a ton of leads just sitting there. The truth is, I don't know if you are aware, but as an agent, if you're in the business, you know this, the leads that are passed around are often sold to multiple different people. And the truth is, the word lead is much misaligned, in my opinion, because if it's, you know, handed out to, you know, 5, 10 agents, whatever, you know, across multiple brokerages, so on, then what actually happens? Because a lot of times these leads are someone who just clicked on one thing, let me see the pictures, they put their information in, and they did that. And then they go to the next place and they're like, okay, let me see the pictures. And then, you know, you got a lead from Zillow, you got a lead from Realtor.com, you got a lead from Ylopo, all the different things. It's one lead, it's one person, it's one opportunity. And oftentimes, if they're clicking around on the internet and giving people their information, they might not even be ready to buy. So are they really a lead? We'll let you decide. But the point is the a la carte options and having the CRMs and the systems in place and all of the things gets expensive. And if you are at a brokerage that doesn't offer these things or does offer a very limited, scope of these, because the next secret is some of these CRMs and these websites, they really limit them down because they can only afford, certain pieces of the platform because the fees aren't as expensive. You see the problem with building this a la carte. It takes a very special driven individual that understands marketing to make those right choices. And at the end of the day, if we're putting money out for these a la carte systems and, programs, are we really at 100% brokerage, or are we missing out, from the brokerages that offer a little bit more, although they may, on paper charge a little bit more? So next, as we roll down and, sometimes we get, so focused in and business is good and things are rolling in. This is for my experienced agents. Then we kind of hit this, roadblock, or something changes, the commission changes, or all of this. And, we have these emails, these canned emails that come from our broker that say, go listen to this attorney or go listen to this, right? And there's no real collaboration, right? Because by nature of being at a transaction brokerage model, people are like, well, everything's in it for myself. It's my business. I can do this. So you oftentimes have a very shut off group of people who just have, the brand that they're all, unknowingly building the brand to success, not their own, but they're kind of shut off and there's no collaboration. So when you step back and you're at a brokerage, or maybe there's a revenue share system, or maybe there's some equity ownership, there's a little bit more camaraderie within those just by the nature of the setup of the model, right? I know our group at the Wolfpack, extremely collaborative. Not every agent that I talk to or I help is in my downline or upline. The truth is that it creates a culture of collaboration, because if we win, we all win, because we all are equity owners of our company. We're not renting our business. We're not building that brand up. And so it behooves of us to actually collaborate. And so I've seen brokerage model after brokerage model, and a lot of them talk about, they're like, well, it's cheap, so we don't really have that, ultimate collaboration. And I will tell you that some transaction shops do a really good job. They have the office culture, but they're few and far between, because by nature, the person is saying, well, this is my money. Why would I, invest it into the brokerage based on a split or whatever? Now, on the other end of the perspective, there's a ton of, brokerages that charge hundreds of thousands of dollars to their agents. And they've created like this ultimate, brand, and, you have to be a part of this brand to, sell houses. And that's just not true as well. So there is a fine line of this collaboration of, okay, like we are all our own brand. We are all independent contractors. And are we doing this right now out of, collaboration to build the entire group and the company's brand, or are we just focused on the company's brand because, of this, that, or the other thing? So that's absolutely huge. And I get it. When you first start, if it's like, oh, this is cheaper, it's only $25 a month versus $85, or there is no monthly fee, it's just a split. Well, those models struggle to kind of stay afloat because they cannot offer their agents the opportunity for the collaboration. So if you're considering and you're a new agent, okay, this is what this looks like. Maybe it's a little bit more expensive overall, but then I get a website and I get a CRM and I get a collaboration. I get all this specialty training, especially the stuff that we offer at the Wolfpack. You want more information about that, book a call at the reagentwolfpack.com, and we can talk about all the things we offer in addition to our brokerage brand as well. But if we're sitting back and looking at it, how are we actually going to launch into this business? How are we actually going to get up and running? Or if we're stagnant, how is going to this model where we just feel like we do everything, and how is that going to encourage your growth? I tend to believe, we are the people we surround ourselves with. So oftentimes when you go into these cultures that are more me first, I'm going to save all my money, all the things, not throwing it into, a revenue share pool or the equity ownership piece, then, and it's certainly not all, even at my brokerage, but there's different layers to this, but there's only enough money in the bank to, put out so much. And so if you're at one of those brokerages that has limited fees, limited splits, all the things. Well, what can they actually provide the agents, and what do they have in place, to supplement for the lack of, income stream that, brokerages really struggle with? Then the next thing, hopefully you're still with me. If you are, you do survive, right? Say you go to the transaction shop and you're absolutely, make sure that you run the numbers, because, I've run numbers for people at, transaction shops that are supposedly cheap and great and, offer all this stuff. But when you're talking 30, 40, 50, 100 transactions in a single year, it makes absolutely no sense. The transaction fees do actually add up. I ran one for an agent recently where she would say $40,000 being on the eXp 80-20 split with a $16,000 cap, as opposed to her, brokerage transaction fee model, what she is currently doing. So the 100% model costs $40K more per year to that agent. That's real money. And when your average purchase price is $175, $200, $225, whatever it is, $40,000 is a lot of money. So think about those locations that we deal in and you operate in. Think about the transaction volume as it stacks up and what actually makes sense, right? And if you want to actually run the numbers, your numbers, we will sit down, we will go through it, we'll run them, through a spreadsheet or on a, pen and paper, and we'll make sure that you are actually getting the best bang for your buck when you make these brokerage decisions. I've just seen it over and over and over again. From my personal experience, I was actually going to make $2,500 more when I net everything together, right? The stock awards, the, revenue share with, all the things. I was actually making $2,000 more than I was at my dad's brokerage, the cheapest brokerage, in my entire state, and coming over to eXp because of the value and how, the model is structured. So make sure you're actually aware of what's going on, because sometimes, when we're reaching for those, increased transactions, we're like, okay, well, yeah, I'm going to be here until I get there. But can you get there in the current environment that you're in? That's a question you have to ask yourself. And ultimately, can you get there quicker with the resources that are offered, at the next brokerage? It might be a little more expensive on the front end, but will ultimately get you to that goal and that, income that you're actually looking for. And then finally, the transaction shops typically do not have the long-term growth opportunities, right? eXp was kind of the revolutionary company that came out with, revenue share, switched it from profit share at the KW model, which really shouldn't even be in the same sentence, because profit share is, after the company pays all its bills and all the office bills and all the employees and all of that, where revenue share comes off when that money hits, comes into the brokerage on a split, then it goes out to the revenue share line immediately. So you know exactly what it is. It appears littler on the front end, but as that adds up over time, it's absolutely massive. 10, 100 million X of what I've seen, and heard from people who've been in the profit share model for an extended amount of time. So that long-term growth, right? We want to really look at this. Realtors don't retire, they expire. That, ultimately was the saying that I was like, okay, well, what am I going to do, right? If I hoard all my commissions and I'm paying for websites and paying for this and paying for that, ultimately, do I have, any sort of exit strategy? Do I have any of that that's included with this cheaper model? Because ultimately, I could still be there absolutely crushing it, and it's on me to take, half of my income or whatever they're saying now and invest it with, my financial planner, or invest it personally, or whatever that looks like. And sometimes that investment is like, well, should I invest it in my business or should I invest it in my future? And so being at a brokerage that offers equity ownership, that offers revenue share, that offers a competitive commission split, there's much more that goes into a brokerage model than the cap split or the transaction fee or the monthly fee that we become so obsessed with when we're looking at these brokerage models. So if any of this struck a chord, if you're interested in chatting about my experience, here's the deal. I want what's best for you. I want to help you win every single day at the game of real estate. So let's reach out. You can book a call with me below. You can shoot me a text, 303-210-0378. I'd be happy to talk about your situation, run your specific numbers, and see what makes sense. Because ultimately, this model isn't for everyone, but for me, it absolutely was a game changer. It took my, retirement goals from, probably 65. I'm going to retire from production when I'm 48 because of all of the income streams and the opportunity that was provided because I opened my eyes from a transaction shop and actually did the math. And this one made way more sense. And I promise you it will for you too. So let's chat. Please like, comment, subscribe if you're here for the organic stuff, and we will absolutely crush this together. Go get a win today. Bye-bye.